Hello guys and welcome back, and hopefully you've seen the last video where we managed to get this thing moving. That was very exciting, and I was really pleased to finally get driving it under full high voltage battery power. But we're back to trying to finish off this. This video is more about battery boxes. Finishing off this one and making one to go under the high voltage junction box. I have managed to put a bend into this. The way I did it was to sandwich the steel between two lumps of angle iron, bend it over as best I could by hand, and then clamp a big lump of wood like this using these, and was able to bend it over. So what I need to do now is to bend it along that line over this way. This is probably a little bit more curved than I would want, but what I can do with that is I can put it over the edge of the angle iron and just tap it down. So there you go, one box, just needs welded. Alright, well, it looks like it's not going quite according to plan. It looks like the battery box is going to have to be cut probably along this line here to get it on correctly, get on properly. Problem is, the whole battery box is cantered over to the passenger side a little bit, so it's fouling on this bit of the bonnet slam rail, or whatever you call this, cross rail. Anyway, that ain't gonna fit. So having made this all in one piece, going down and down, and taking all the time to do that, it's a bit of a shame to now have to cut it off, but oh well, gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, let's see if it goes on. Yes, no problems. Ooh, it's going to be tight. Oh dear. It's very tight. I think what I'll do is we'll put a bit of a step here so that it is not quite so tight. Right, I've got a piece of wood clamped on the inside, so hopefully this will now pivot on that. That's more like it. That was what I was trying to do. See the step there? So I'll have another go at this side. There's a nice step on both sides now. That's fine. We need to step this just the same way. So like I said, when these two edges come together now, there's going to be a gap there, but we'll just use a little bit of steel to fill that. A gap there. That's okay, we can sort that out. Right, now to start thinking about welding, I think. Okay guys, so sadly, or maybe from your point of view thankfully, I didn't record the grief I went through trying to weld this. It is less than 1 millimeter thick and I was blowing through everywhere, but what I finally managed to do was to put enough spot welds down the corners, down each of the corners, to give it some thickness there. I then went to inside and put some weld down the, well I didn't do it there, but I did it in some, and put some weld on the inside of the corners just to give it a little bit more strength. And then I was able to grind down the very ugly spot welds so that they're now not too terrible. I also had to bash in the top, sort of cut and bash in the top, because it was hitting just this point of the car, so I had to do that to give myself a little bit more space. But this is the final product. It's going to need lots of sealing, silicone sealant and seam sealer and paint and whatever, so it will need to be sealed and painted along with all the rest of this stuff, but it should be okay for the purposes I have in mind. I'll probably also put maybe 3 or 4 screws on either side just to secure it. So this basically sets down like that. So that's it more or less where it's supposed to go. It's probably not fitted properly, but as you can see I had to curve off this edge to try and get it to fit in there, because if it was just square it was hitting the front of the car. But there's plenty of room for the battery, that's not a problem. But the next problem is then, how do you seal this gap here? So what I've done is I've cut a piece of steel. This is it. And this piece of steel will sit on sand that. And so I can put silicone along this edge to seal that, but I was sort of trying to figure out how I could seal off this top edge. And the only thing I can think to do, just take it out again, is to create another flange, like so. So what I plan to do is to just set that on there, put a weld along that edge. I'll need to trim off the excess, which will be on the inside. It's easier to weld to the flat bit and then trim it off after the fact than it is to butt weld the two edges, because when you've got a flat there you've got something to weld to, it doesn't keep blowing away on you. So that gives you something which is a little bit better for welding to, and then it's quite easy just to trim it off afterwards. Right, well, there's it roughly tacked in place, and to be honest I'm not going to do any more than that. There's no way that my welding will be watertight seals, so I'll be relying on sealant of some sort to do that. And on the other side, there you go, I just cut up the angle grinder and then used the flap disc to sort of get it close to the edge. Probably slightly straighter might have been better, but I don't think it'll matter for what I intend to do with it. So this will go like so. And that's buttoned up against there. And all I need to do is put a thick bead of silicone sealant along behind it. And that will seal that up against the top part of the box. Do the same at the bottom. But I also now need to do a corner. I need to fill in that corner. So I think the best thing to do is if I bend a flange in the bottom of this, and just so that it can go over that bolt, bolt it down with the nut that's there. Nice, and just pull it over like so. Okay guys, well, as you can see, I have just drilled a hole in it, bolted it down, just so that I know that it's in position, in the correct position. And there's a bit of a curve at the top there, but it's kind of bashed it into position, more or less. So what I plan to do now is just to put a few tacks, welds, down here. Make sure everything's nice and secure, and then take it off and finish the welding, and then just cut off the excess. Okay, so it's pretty well in position. Oh, it's warm. That doesn't work very well. Try again, take two. Oh no. Balls. Stupid stuff. Well, as you can see guys, my welding is not great. It hasn't improved a whole lot. And in fairness, this is less than a millimeter thick, so it blows through so easily. You just have to basically put tack welds and join them together. But it's kind of good enough. What I'll do now is cut off the excess. We'll see how it looks. So there you go guys. The ugliest of the welds are more or less gone. It's not perfect, it never will be. Not with me on the end of the welding wand, but it's good enough for me. It'll seal up with a bit of mastic and silicone sealant or whatever. So now just have to do the other end. So this is another piece of steel I've cut out. It's just a wee cut off piece, and it fits in like so. I shall go ahead and get that welded in now, and we'll take it from there. Okay guys, well as you can see, that's not too bad. I'm reasonably happy with that. It far from perfect, and not even perfect from far, but good enough. By the time I slap a load of silicone sealant on this and a load of paint, it will do the job nicely. As you can see, that weld on the inside is still there, but that doesn't matter because it's just there to give it strength and body for me, so that I can confidently grind back the welds on the outside and not worry then about the whole thing just falling apart on me. So we'll go ahead and try another test fit and we'll see how we get on. Okay, well, it's not a million miles away. However, the bit at the bottom is yeah, it's a wee bit tight, so I'm going to try and step that out now. There you go, one step out. It may not be quite enough, but I can always bring it out a bit more if I need to. Right, let's try this again and see what it's like. Okay, it's not quite there yet, but it's a lot better than it was. And you can see the step is now going over the lip nice and well. But I think it could maybe do with a little bit more. Just another few mil. So I'll try it again and come back. Right guys, so I have finished off this as far and as well as I can for now. I did put another slightly bigger step over here and fitted everything a little bit better and just a few things tidied up and so on, but I've pretty much gone as far as I can with this for now. It does need all painted and sealed and so on, but we'll do that later. We can do that when we're finally fitting it to the car for the last time. But for now, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Before I go though, I'm going to give you a little sneak preview of what's coming next. Yep, another battery box here, cutting the frame and moving everything over to the left hand side. That was a bigger job than I anticipated, but it had to be done to get this battery box in, and next time I'll show you how I did all that. So thanks very much for watching guys, and bye for now.